Hello, this is John with Theology Ed. This is part 14 of the I Pet Goat 2 Explained series. We're going to be focusing on the tank scene here. So this is reminiscent of the 1989 June 5th event. This iconic photo, of course, comes from China in Beijing. This gentleman was a very brave or courageous gentleman, was standing in front of the line of tanks as it was leaving Tiananmen Square. So this column of tanks was leaving, and he's there. Of course, we have a similarity here with the lone protester standing in front of the column of tanks with a lot of Chinese symbolism in the scene and Asian symbolism as well in the scene. So you have Yin Yangs, you have this Asian girl, and probably a hint, well, perhaps a hint at the Chinese New Year with the fireworks in the very next scene when skullduggery appears. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to understand the scene better. I did a video on the tank scene outside of the I Pet Goat 2 Explained series, and I'm going to suggest some changes to that interpretation. And these are improvements that will help us to understand I Pet Goat 2 better than before. So let's go ahead and dig in. Where does the tank scene appear in the video, where, the chronology of the video? Of course, we have the opening calendar. Harpocrates is born in July. He is related to the everything up to Harpocrates' egg scene was about the period from June 21st to July 5th. A lot of scenes about the United States, the flag being torn in half, Manhattan, and so on. Harpocrates is born, the egg hatches, and he's gone. This egghead starts to see markets plunging and war coverage on the television. Then we actually see the scene where Harpocrates is killed in this attack. He actually resurrects out of this later. And while he's dead, Isis starts to perform some spell to resurrect him. We have the holy dung beetle or whatever crawling on his face. In Egyptian mythology, it was a holy scarab. Then we have a very brief scene indicating some suffering going on in Africa, it appears, and here in Latin America it appears as well. And then immediately after this scene with the sinking Latino, we move into the tank scene that we're going to be looking at. So this falls after Harpocrates' death. Okay, this is after Harpocrates' death and during the spell period when Isis is casting a spell to resurrect him. Now, we have a yin yang here right away. It stands out as a yin yang, though it's a bit, I'll say, adulterated, sort of. It's not a perfect one. A yin yang usually looks like this. We have, it involves the concept of duality, so that you have opposites, but them being sort of necessary for one another and complementary. And so the yang is white here and the yin is black, but the yang side has a little bit of yin and the yin side has a little bit of yang with the little white dot in the yin. And so it's showing that they're both necessary to sort of have a balanced reality or just balance in life. And so here yang is associated with sun, yin with moon. Yang with day, yin with night, and hot, hard, white, cold, soft, black. So you see these oppositions, including active and passive. Yang is active, yin is passive. Yang is male, yin is female. Yang is positive, yin is negative. Yang is emitting, yin is receiving. Related to male, active, emitting can be associated with sperm. So sperm is yang. Yin, receiving, is feminine and receives sperm. Things like this, okay? Dark, bright, intuitive is yin. Logical is yang. Slow, yin. Fast, yang. And so on. So summer would be yang. Winter would be yin. Yin, excuse me. I hope I've not been saying yang. But yin, I don't know. Well, whatever, doesn't matter, does it? It's already happened. So we have yang and yin. And so we have a yin-yang here. And the question then is, what are we actually supposed to be seeing in this yin-yang? And which side is yang and which side is yin? If you look, the yang side has what? A black dot, okay, the black circle in it. This side has a black dot. This side has none. It looks like the white dot has escaped it. Okay, we do have a shadow here and a shadow here, but this would suggest that the white dot is out here. It's difficult, it's a little tricky because they've portrayed the yin yang, both sides being just lit up. But the dark circle here, I think, is a giveaway that it's yang. Additionally, if you were to have doubts about this, oh, well, maybe that's a dark circle too, and it's ambiguous and we don't know. It looks like there's sperm on the yang side, which is associated with yang. And we also have this, which will become a little more clear in a second, as a phallic symbol that penetrates into this side, which would indicate that this is yin or feminine. So the scene here has yang down below, yin up top. This would be then yang and yin, sun, sun, moon, moon. Okay, so the sun side has a little bit of moon, the moon side is supposed to have a little bit of sun, but in this case, moon has completely overtaken sun. Sun is on the outside. And if you look at the yin yang, look closely, what do we have? It looks like a face. Imagine that's the eye, and here's the mouth, the jaw here, and it's open. It's like it's going to eat the sun. In fact, I turned it on its side so we can see it from the other angle. You can see it from this side that it is a yin yang about to consume the sun that's supposed to be on the moon side. The moon is blocking the sun now. We have all moon where you're supposed to have moon with a little bit of sun. This is representing an eclipse, and the eclipse it has to be representing, I believe, is the annular eclipse in this June, the June 21st annular eclipse. And the reason it has to be that one, I believe, first off, yin yang already looks like which astrological sign? It looks like Cancer. That's the sign of Cancer. Additionally, if you look at how this is laid out, we have the eclipse with the dot again. They're using the solar dot to look like that dot to the side. So just like she's got the dot, and Obama's face has the dot, and the Hierophant has the dot, the yin yang has the dot. That eclipse throughout is representing the June 21st eclipse. And this one just adds to it that our eclipse here is here, and it's in Cancer, as this pattern suggests, as the symbol suggests. So we have a new representation of the June 21st annular solstice eclipse that happens a few hours after the solstice. And that is important. Now you say, why would they put this here if it's after Harpocrates' death? Most of the coverage of the annular eclipse was before that. We had the repetition, the annular eclipse in almost every scene, along with the buck moon. But now we've seen the birth and death of Harpocrates. We should be long after any thought of this eclipse. And I think the reason they've done that is because they're situating this in relation to another eclipse, which is more important specifically for this scene. So we'll see another eclipse in just a moment. But let's go ahead. I'm going to show the scene here from the tank scene from the outside coming in. Well, actually, before I do that, here, look. So here's your June 21st, 2020 annular eclipse at 0 degrees, 21 minutes in Cancer. Just wanted to make sure you saw that. Okay. But I'm going to show the scene quickly so you can take a look at it and see what's happening. I'm going to turn the volume down on it, make sure that's down. Okay, here's the first, more or less the first frame. And we're looking at the column of tanks. I'm going to hit play, and let's go. What you're going to watch, two things to watch. One, this line here is broken. It's like a broken line if you follow it. And this part is going to disappear. This is going to open up the yang. This is going to be penetrating into the yin side. And this dot initially, and this one, they're both going to fade and become smaller and move towards the bottom of our screen, the two dots here. However, this one, when it zooms in to her, when we move in to see her up close, this instead of moving out of the circle like it looks like it should be doing, moving out of the yin yang, it is moving in. Remember, this is symbolizing what? If this is on the sun side, this is the moon. After the June 21st eclipse, what do we do in every other scene? You have the eclipse, and then you watch the moon. So we're going to watch this moon. It looks like it's going to go up there, but when it moves in to her, it goes to here, into the middle of this eclipse, and then moves, well, it might right about here, and it moves in between these two lines. And that's going to be important. I'm going to explain that in just a second. But I want you to see it and have it in mind when we start talking about it. There it goes. Did you see how it jumped in? Watch again. So you saw this open. You can see it opening here already. This is penetrating in. That's a phallic symbol. This is going to disappear off. See? These two are moving towards the bottom of the screen here, like they're disappearing and they're shrinking. Oh, but then as soon as it moves into her, this lands over this, splattered sperm or whatever representation, and then starts to move in between the two lines. Watch. There it goes. Okay? And so it goes between the two lines. That is actually important. The sequence, because these dots, what I'm going to show you here, these dots are representing a broken line, which in Ching which is a book, a very ancient, classic book of divination in China, a Chinese cultural book, part of their religious heritage. It is a broken line representing yin. The solid lines represent yang. Okay? And when you get these three in a row, you have trigrams. And they use two trigrams to create a hexagram, which has a signification for divination. I'll explain. Okay? So what I'm going to show you is that we have a broken line, solid line, and then it moves in, and we get a broken line between these two points, and the yin, between two yangs. Again, meaning that we get a second trigram, which is going to be line, broken line. You'll understand in a second. I know that sounds bizarre. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a look. I Ching. It's the oldest of the Chinese classic texts. Alternative romanizations of the book include I Ching, Yi Xing, Yi King. Translations of its name into English include Book of Changes, or more accurately, Classic of Change. The philosophy centers around the ideas of balance through opposites and acceptance of change. It is known mostly as a system of divination. So, divination meaning, trying to gain knowledge from supernatural sources. Okay, usually about the future. The structure. The I Ching symbolism is embodied in a set of 64 abstract line arrangements. See the 64 abstract line arrangements. These are hexagrams. They have 6 lines, each of them. And they're combined. They're a combination of 2 trigrams, an upper trigram and a lower trigram. And there's 8 trigrams that can be combined in 64 ways. So each hexagram is made of 2 trigrams. There are 8 possible trigrams. What are the trigrams? Let's look at them. I'll put them over here. You can see 3 lines, for example, is heaven. 3 broken lines, so that's 3 yins, is earth. 2 yins and a yang, thunder, and so on. All the way down, so we have water, mountain, wind, fire, and swamp. Now, when we look at our scene here, we have, at the beginning, we have 2 lines and a broken. Now, which is the top? Is that the top or the bottom? Well, if this is a face, which it is, and it's about to eat the sun, okay, if that's a face, then this would be the top when we look at it from the right perspective. So if this is the top, we have broken line, solid, solid. We have yin, yang, yang. What is that? Yin, yang, yang is swamp. Then we have the dots go between. We have yin go between a yang and a yang. They made a point to do that because, look, it was disappearing up here. Either they made it look like it was going to disappear up here, and then made a mistake by moving it back in there, or they thought we actually need to make sure we get the yin between the yangs. And so they made a bizarre move where all of a sudden the moon dot is moving away, and then they put it up close here and move it in the exact opposite direction. That was a necessary move for them, because otherwise they would have missed the opportunity to communicate something they need to communicate, which is that the yin needs to be between the yangs after the first trigram. We have the first trigram, then we get the second trigram. So we have then two trigrams. We have the first trigram is the yin above a yang and a yang. Yin above yang, yang. So swamp. Then the second trigram has the two yang lines with a yin in the middle. That's fire. So we have swamp above fire. That, as it turns out, is called the skinning or revolution hexagram. Broken, solid, 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 broken, solid. That's your first trigram, swamp. That's your second trigram, fire. And it's called the skinning or revolution hexagram. And let's describe it. This is a divination, remember. So when you get this hexagram, it is meaning something. You're going to get information about what's coming. And here's what they say. Get rid of obsolete ideas. Regulate your calendar to reflect the changes. Do not keep things hidden. Next, the old character, the image, shows an animal skin with horns attached, stretched on a frame of branches. So their image even is an animal skin with horns, okay, which sort of fits the whole buck idea. Circle of meaning, peel away the old, overthrow, revolt, renew. A radical change in culture, a time when you can strip away the old and let new life emerge. Accepting inner guidance now gives you the ability to express the spirit in the human community. Okay, it is associated with a fire in a lake. So fire in the lake. So create a transformative inner awareness that melts away obsolete ideas, skin away all that has grown old and useless so that new life can emerge. Wait for the right moment to act. When the moment arrives, act with confidence, radically change basic ideas in the way things are presented, overthrow what has grown corrupt or decadent. This is your moment. Present yourself in an entirely new way. Which, of course, is what they're trying to do. They're trying to bring in a new Ian, which is going to be revolutionary, getting rid of the old ways, old culture, radical change in ideas, present themselves in a new way, no longer hide who they are, who they worship, what they are, and bring in their new order, the new world order, the Ian of Horus and the age of Aquarius. Continuing. Strip away the old and let new life emerge. Reject the decadent and renew the way. Wait for the right moment to act. Listen to this. Skinning shows a time of revolution, fire in the lake, change heaven's mandates. It suggests animal transformations, a snake changing its skin, and the annual changes of form all animals were thought to undergo. It focuses on ritual transformations that occur as the Wu, the technicians of the sacred, put on the animal masks, like this guy, the dancer, put on animal masks to call the spirits and change the time. This is informative, right? We're learning about the dance at the end as well. Why are they dancing around in animal masks? They're calling upon spirits to change the times. In particular, these ritual dances occurred at spring's beginning, the new year, which again, this whole scene is about New Year. A big change with New Year's, the fireworks, the yin yang, all of that is associated with the New Year in Chinese culture. These dances occurred at spring's beginning, New Year, when the Shing, I don't know how to say that, or exorcists, dressed in bear skin and wearing a bear mask. Here's your bear mask dancer with 4 golden eyes, and they would drive out the spirits of the old year, pushing them over the edge of the world into renewal and change. And that's why you have the bear dancer, I believe, at the end, right before what happens. The sun comes out, he takes the bear mask off, and he's happy with the sun, and they go into the new Ian. Horus is birthed. Rahor Kuit exits the cathedral door with the water breaking behind him as birthed. Okay, so we're it's nice when all the pieces sort of come together like this, because it confirms that you're not finding things that aren't there. Okay, but let's keep going. The situation, a great and long-awaited change is taking place. This is all associated with this hexagram. This is a change that can restore equilibrium and answer a real need. See the whole before making the first move. Bringing your thoughts into line with the new time calls for far-reaching reorganization. Concentrate on core changes and be decisive. Do not be caught in details. Okay, so they are in the process of what? A major revolution or change, changing culture, changing ideas. They're going to do this sort of dance and everything. And it's related to what? New Year's. The symbolism here, not just the yin yang, not just the fireworks, and as we'll see, the tiger on her back could represent, and I think probably does represent, the year of the tiger, which begins February 1st, 2022. I think we have some sort of indication that what we're leading into here for them is a big change that happens around that time, around that year of the tiger is the new year, because this hexagram also is representing things that change and happen at the new year. Okay, and that bear dance is related to what's going on here at this new year, and it's done at the very end of this video after Harpocrates is resurrected and passed through the constellations. Remember, that final eclipse happens that Harpocrates crosses into. That was the December 3rd, 4th eclipse in 2021. And then after that, we go to the dances. Now, if those dances are associated with the new year, the new Chinese year, and there's the animal masks and these dances that are where they're summoning more spirits to bring in the changes and put away the old permanently and bring in the new. If that's all associated with the new Chinese year at that time, what that would suggest is they're looking at spring, late winter, spring, February 1st, year of the tiger, 2022. That's only a couple months after Harpocrates does that last eclipse, resurrected Harpocrates. Okay. So now we're getting these things put together. There she is with her tiger, and here Skullduggery is introduced into the video, and notice he arrives with an eclipse on his finger. Okay, when I say eclipse, the diamond ring. We get a ring and we get a diamond. The diamond effect, this is the diamond ring effect, is visible during eclipses. This particular picture is the diamond ring effect visible during the Great American Eclipse, August 21st, 2017. Okay, and you see how it resembles the diamond. This diamond, when he's moving his hand, does this sort of sparkling and has that appearance of the diamond ring effect. Notice that the eclipse then is where? The eclipse is in his hands. It's on his hand. He's going to go and reach and grab her shoulder. She is going to turn around and look at him. She has a heart on one cheek, and she has the no nuclear sign, this anti-nuclear sign on her other cheek. And he is going to do something very interesting with his hands that I don't know that we've paid enough attention to. The sequence goes here to here to here to there. Now look, his right hand is forward, reaching forward, and his shoulder is forward as well. He is going to pull it back. His shoulder, his body turns back, his shoulder turns back, and his hand pulls back like he's pulling back a bow, I think. And it's only after he pulls back the bow that he shoots his party blower or whatever at her nuclear cheek. Now, maybe it's a stretch, maybe it's not. I don't think it's a stretch. I think because the eclipse is already in his hand, the hands are being used to represent the sign of the archer. And that would be Sagittarius again, right? Sagittarius is the sign of the archer. If you look closely, he's here, hand goes back, he fires, and hand drops with the firing. So you know his hand's up high before he fires, and you see the bigger space here? That's because his hand dropped after he fired. When he fires, his hand drops. So he pulls back and then fires. And this is trying to suggest, and his ring is on the finger, on his hand. This is giving us his hands being Sagittarius, representing Sagittarius the archer, and so the eclipse is in Sagittarius. And so we go over here, and that happens. Now, this is one of the little trickier ones to identify. There are two eclipses solar eclipses in Sagittarius, one in 2020 and one in 2021. Okay? I suspect this eclipse being depicted in this scene is related to 2021, but I'm not positive. 2020, I think the conflict is primarily in the Middle East. In 2021, it may be over there with China. But what makes me think it's 2021 is, first, we also have the Sagittarius solar eclipse depicted in that final scene when the boy, when Harpocrates is spinning around right to this point. Okay, so he ends up almost there. He's going to get on the lunar south node right there. There's your eclipse, and that eclipse is the December 21st Sagittarius, third, fourth Sagittarius eclipse in 2021. There's the 21st year of the century. So 2021. That's that eclipse. So we already have a reference to this eclipse in the video. And so when there's a Sagittarius eclipse here, I think, well, that's probably going to be a similar event, maybe. But when we add to it the fact that the year of the tiger happens when? The year of the tiger is going to begin, like I said, February 1st, 2022. That's very shortly after this eclipse. And if you look at his hand, what's happening? It's like the eclipse is here first and reaches out to get her. It's like the effects of the eclipse reach out to the tiger. And so I think we're probably looking at 2022 there. So this gives us a hint that we're even going all the way to 2022 in the video, possibly. And then the fireworks also just confirming that we are looking at a New Year event that comes pretty close to this. And I'm guessing it's the Chinese New Year, but it could even be the Gregorian New Year, the Western New Year on January 1st, because it would go from January, from the December eclipse, shortly after it, to the fireworks. So either of those would work. Of course, after this happens, she sees that he has pointed his party blower at the nuclear sign. We're going to have nuclear war, presumably involving China in this case. There's your year, the February 1st, 2022 through January 21st, 2023 is the year of the tiger. And if that's correct, then we can add to the timeline the tiger at the end. Okay? And so we would have things pick up really in 3/11 of this year with the declaration of the pandemic. Then we go to the eclipse, the June 21st eclipse, followed by the buck moon. In the meantime, Neptune stations retrograde, and we begin a period of about 5 months in which Neptune is retrograde. This whole longer period of another year after the eclipses, when we have this sort of period of time to really grasp what's been going on. By this point next year, July next year, we should have a pretty clear picture that things are a huge mess, that things are not like they were before. The United States is not the country it once was. Okay? And then along in that same timeline, we get a lunar eclipse on May 26th, which comes after Harpocrates' resurrection, which appears to happen in December of 2020. And then we get an eclipse and year of the tiger set of events that may involve China, according to the tank scene. Okay, so I think what we're looking at is the IPEC-02 calendar can even be extended beyond the 2021 December eclipse, and we can be seeing more things happening, because we do have in that scene at the end, right after this, it doesn't go straight to birth. That's how I depicted it before. I said, oh, now he goes to birth. We get to this scene, and then what do we get? We get our dances. Okay, so we have some time passing where they're summoning more spirits. There's your bear. There, after the bear, you're changing into what? The Ian of Horus, so you get this falcon, and then you get the boy or the guy who's now finally happy to see the sun. Then you get birth. So I don't know how much time those dancers are going to represent, but they do appear to be associated with, from what we just read on that revolution, skinning revolution, hexagram divination, they do appear to be associated with the Chinese New Year events. So that would place it around that year, the Tiger, 2022 start date, February 1st. Okay. Take care. Like, subscribe, share, all that.